Hi friends, welcome back or to the channel. My name is Jesse. This is Cadillac Rod and Customs. You know the drill. So I get asked a lot what is left on projects on the property, and I figured instead of just telling people all this shit, I'll just make a video and we'll cover it from there. So let's get to it, shall we? First is the shop truck. Now, I know I did the video on this, and you guys all know it's got a ton of stuff done to it. But what you don't know is from right here back, I basically haven't done anything except put airbags in it. So I need to find turn signal switch and a brake light switch for it, which the brake light switch is at the parts stores, but the turn signal switch, I can't find one. But I can't finish the wiring without the turn signal switch because everything on the back of the truck runs through that switch. So that's kind of my dilemma there, because the one that's in there came out of an old semi somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know. I don't like it, but I can't find a replacement. So I may have to use this one and just, it doesn't have a wiring schematic on it. So it's going to be a lot of work. Anyway, so from there back has no wiring at all. I do intend on lifting the bed off because I need to put a notch in so I can get it to lay all the way down. But that means I'm going to have to take this original 1961 pristine bed floor, and I'm going to have to lift it up probably to that second body line right there, probably, which is going to be tall enough to cover up all this stuff. And I don't think I'll actually cut the whole floor. I think what I'll do is I'll just cut the center of it out right here and right here, poke the notch up through, and then I can still utilize the floor for storage, but still have the new floor on top of it, because the new floor will, tilt up and all that happy crappy. But that's it. Oh, I do need to cut the front inner fenders as well, because right now the body's sitting down on the 22s, so it doesn't lay all the way down. So when I pull the bed off to do the notch, I'm going to cut the inner fenders and buy some covers, and Simple C10 sells a really nice set of covers actually. So that's all that thing needs. I say that's all, but that's a gang of work. Next is this monstrosity. It's such a cool car. I was really excited about it. Done a bunch of shit to it when I first got it. And then I pulled it into the carport. Well, I drove it from Skid Row over there to where it is right now, and that's it. I've done a bunch of work. I got the brakes fixed, and now it runs. It stops. The transmission does transmission things, but I haven't driven it basically at all. And I've kind of losing interest in this project, actually. I hate that I am, but it is what it is, So as far as I know, this has just two small spots of rust repair, and it's ready to start prepping for paint. But mechanically, it's pretty sound. Doesn't need much. Does need tires that hold air, because these things go flat in about 15 minutes. So there's that one. I'm not going to do anything in front here because they're dailies. So whatever. Now this is, it's an absolute unit. I built this to run 33-inch tires, and then me being the genius that I am, ordered bigger tires. So I'm right back to square one with the lack of power. Plus, that 22R makes like, I don't know, 46 squirrels or some shit. It doesn't make a lot of power, so those trucks rely heavily on gearing. but I would like to throw a set of 529s in it just for better road manners. But for what I use it for, it does all right. You know, it's good enough for now. Once I get some, I need to pull this onto the carport and pull the interior back out. Now that I have a new windshield and the cab is watertight again, I can actually start fixing the rust in the floors, and then maybe that'll motivate me to put the right gears in it, and you know, maybe even license it, because it hasn't been licensed since 2015. Because you know, the only time it ever leaves town, it's on a trailer behind that thing. So it doesn't need to be licensed. They really don't bother me around town because I don't break the rules when I'm driving that truck, and it doesn't see a lot of pavement. It's usually like I drive it to the gym, or if I have to run an errand just real quick to the gas station or whatever. But most of the time it's just from here to wherever I'm in the dirt, so it's whatever. This thing has kind of a soft spot in my heart because this is the first one I ever built that I did a full air ride system on, and I have also done a ton of work to this thing that most people don't even realize. Like when I first started the project, see, this truck belonged to Tabitha's, I guess you could say, ex, and he started building it, and he pulled the bed off and put the big notch in the frame and all that stuff, and then, you know, he passed away. So I ended up picking up the project and trying to put it back together as a like a tribute vehicle. So what I did is I took the bed completely apart, had to put the panhard bar and all that shit in, and I ended up doing an 11-inch bed raise. Well, I guess you'd call it a body drop. I did an 11-inch body drop. I took the stock fenders and cut them and widened them out and trimmed them to fit in here on the bed sides. You could tell that it's old work now because the spray paint's all faded. And anyway, it's an 11-inch body drop, so the finished depth on this bed is 8.5 inches. This was a lace panel, and this is gloss cherry red, and then I had some red, like anodized, I don't even remember what it was called. It was like a anodized overcoat for specifically red. It was darker, and it looked kind of candy-ish, but it was a spray paint. And I was dumb at the time and did not clear coat this roof, so the lace faded out in, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Most of the red is still here and looks good when it's clean. It's pretty dirty right now, but it's got tons of cool stuff done to it. I don't think I've ever really even showed you guys this truck. So now's a good time, yeah. And here, did a ton of pinstriping. I mean, as usual, there's where I mounted my gauge pods. That switch is for the compressors. It is a red. I can't take credit for this wheel though, by the way. He had this already picked out for this truck. But, you know, more pinstriping. It's also on the bottom of the passenger door, but it's closed. We got it on the wheels. Starfires all around the box. These are just Chevy 15x8 rally wheels. We got a pinstriping in the headlight covers. All up on the hood. Under the bonnet is a Crate 350 with an Edelbrock carburetor. Nothing too hot roddy, you know. And right here on the radiator core support, I pinstriped this, says, you know, his name and that it's dedicated and all that fancy stuff. So it's a super cool truck. You could tell that it was spray painted though. More of the same, ton of pinstriping. So yeah, that is a super cool project. I'm kind of angry that I've abandoned that thing, but you know, that's what we do here. Well, that's what most gearheads I know do. Most shitboxers. This thing runs great. It's a daily. It gets actually pretty good gas mileage considering it's 6,500 pounds, but it gets like 20 to 25 most days. Some cool nameplates on it. It's I don't know, there's really not much to it. Although it does need it has a rear main seal problem because it's a small block Chevy. They all have rear main seal problems, and I honestly don't feel like dropping the trans out of this thing for obvious reasons. So I think I'm just going to go down and buy a quart of snake oil for it, dump it in, and see if it fixes it. If not, then I hope it's not much worse than it is right now, because you can definitely tell where this thing parks. So also she's got some LEDs that she wants put around, like underneath it and stuff, but I'm not gonna do much to that. Like I said, it's a cool driver. Here we've got Cousin Eddie. Current deal. Still need to come back and clear coat this because it feels like it's pretty well set up now, or cured I should say. Good news is my little problem here did not spread, and it's not soft like it was yesterday. So I'm calling it a win. I'm just gonna clear it, but obviously I can't do it today. It's bad weather. Ow. But I do still plan to drop the headliner out of this thing sometime this summer and redo it. I just here, let me get in. Oh, this back seat's mad comfortable. I just need to get the material for it and square away some time, because it's going to be a lot of work. I have to take everything from the shoulder line up, like all these pieces, all the dome lights, the surround for the sunroof, all that stuff has to come out. And then the headliner itself shouldn't be that difficult to do. It's another lie that I tell myself. It's probably going to be a pain in the ass, but whatever, you know. It does have this, and I feel like this may have been done intentionally, because that line is pretty straight up until right here. But it looks like somebody got in here with a pocket knife or something and just cut this seat, because I've never seen leather just, you know, tear perfectly in the most unused portion of a seat. Also looks like they had cat or something living in this thing. So I gotta look into the seats, or getting them repaired or recovered or something. Typical driver seat wear. I mean, it's had 181,000 miles worth of asses on this seat, so they don't last forever, you know. Conveniently enough, this thing also has a rear main seal problem, because this and the hearse they're basically the same thing drivetrain wise. Exact same motor, same transmission, same rear axle. So this has a rear main seal problem too. And I think what I'll do is get the snake oil I was talking about and put it in the wagon first, this one, just in case something bad happens to this one, then it's not, you know, it's not the hearse. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But more importantly, I need to finish the paint job first. This project is probably my favorite on the property. Well, my second favorite on the property. This thing is just so clean. It's super cool. It's basically all original. I mean, This is by definition a survivor car. It's in such good shape, but some shithead helped himself to the vacuum module off the backside of the transmission that holds the park in park. So the park doesn't do park things, and because there's no vacuum pressure, none of the gears do what they're supposed to do either. So it has basically has no transmission at all, which is unfortunate. And when I talked about taking the motor and transmission out, it caused a lot of ruckus. So I abandoned the project, because I have on my trailer over there a complete 302 and I believe a C4 trans that ran when I bought them. And when I had the buggy, I needed an intake, because if you guys remember, it was supposed to be a fuel injected motor, but I didn't get the wiring harness with it and I couldn't find one. So I switched that thing over to a carburetor. Well, I started pricing out parts, and the cost of an intake and a carburetor was more expensive than me buying that whole motor and transmission package. So I just went that route, knowing that I had that car. That was my plan the whole time, was to take that 302 and throw it in that car with that C4. In my head, it makes sense. It should work just fine. I know I'll probably have to build mounts and a cross member and all that stupid stuff, but that 292, it's pretty tired anyway. I mean, I don't know how many miles it has on it, but it's original from 1958, and it has that breather that comes up off the front of the intake, and you could watch the blow-by when it was running. You could watch the blow-by puff out that breather. So that 292 is tired anyway. So it needs to come out, and I don't really want to rebuild the 292. I would rather just rebuild the 302, where you can actually get parts and they sound better, and you know. So if and when feelings get put aside for that car, I'll start working on it again. But until then, it's just going to sit over there on Skid Row, and you know, I'll talk about how cool it is, and everybody else can stop by and ask me if it's for sale, which it's not. So, you know, at least not right now. Now, we're on to this turd. And let's see, last time you guys saw this, what were we doing? Oh, we were doing these, which, for the record, are still not finished. But I do have the wiring routed, and it is all the way inside the cab to a two-way toggle. And I know two-way toggles are self-grounding switches, and it's mounted in plastic, but I take one of those big ring terminals and slide it over the switch before I push it into the plastic, and then I just obviously run that wire to a ground somewhere. It's probably not the right way, but I've been doing it that way for years and I've never had a problem, so I'm going to keep doing it that way, because it's easier than trying to find someplace metal to mount that switch. It has to be a two-way toggle, because if you guys remember, those lights have a white and a yellow color in them, and I want both colors available. So that's all I have to do is make the connections from the wires to the lights on both sides, and they're done. But I had a bunch of motivation one day to run the wiring and put the switch in and all the stuff, and then the next day I just got off work and decided I wanted to start working on the station wagon instead. So this is my life. It's an entire collection full of shit that's, you know, a few days away from being finished, but it guarantees me to always have something to do if I'm bored and have some downtime. Now, that being said, this Jeep, it has 250, I think 253 or 54,000 miles on it, and it's all original, motor, trans, everything. It runs very well. It does fantastic on the highway. It does not get death wobble up to about 70, but it doesn't go much faster than 70 anyway, because I've got 355 gears and 33-inch tires. And though the 4.0 is a great motor, they're fantastic, they're full of torque, they don't make power. This thing, it chases all, like, it'll chase 3 gears trying to hold 70. So, 55 to 60 is usually its comfort zone, because I can hold drive at 55 or 60. So, yeah, I've put, I don't know, probably 400 or 500 miles on this thing, highway miles on this thing, and it's been awesome. Other than not having cruise control, but let's be honest, most of the shit that I own doesn't have cruise control anyway, or AC. This doesn't have AC either. But other than that, it's been awesome. Like I said, I've driven this thing all over the place. I take it into town. I go on parts runs. If I'm going to look at a potential project that's like off in a dirt field somewhere in somebody's backyard, I take this instead of the Dodge, because I don't care if I bash this up or scratch the sides, or if don't see something in the field and run into it or whatever. I don't care about this thing like I do the Dodge. Probably because I'm still making payments on the Dodge, but not the point. So, yeah, this thing is definitely been worth every penny of the $800 I paid for it. So, ideally, I would love to do a ton swap, but I don't really know that it's worth. Honestly, I don't know that it's worth the money that the axles are going to cost, let alone, the trusses and the steering and the shock towers and the coilovers or whatever I decide to go with, and then all the frame stiffeners and all the welding and all the bullshit. And at the end of the day, I still have 254,000 miles on a 4.0. Is it worth all the work? Probably. But, I can't stop spending money on other projects long enough to save up the money to buy a set of axles and a set of wheels and tires. And I could probably get away with just keeping the leafs and the coils and run tons. I see a couple of people do that, and they beat the brakes off of their rigs, and they're awesome. I could do that. I'd still have to buy the axles and the wheels and tires and the trusses and all the big money stuff. So I would love to put this thing on tons, but I don't know that I want to put the $5,000 or $6,000 into it that it's going to take me to do it. Then I lose most of my, what's the word I'm looking for here, street ability out of this Jeep, because if I've got an entire 37 or 38 inch tire hanging out the side of it, it kind of loses the I don't get pulled overness. Yeah, we'll go with that. Which, again, then I have to put it on a trailer anytime I want to take it somewhere, and I can't just cruise it into price and shit like that. So, it's kind of a catch-22. I'd love to do it, but I don't know if it's really worth doing. So we'll see, I guess. Probably if I could find a good deal on a set of axles, I'd probably buy them and just slowly start working my way into ton swapping this thing, because realistically, if I don't want to go with big coilovers and a full cage and all that bullshit, I could just throw a set of tons underneath this the way it sits. I don't have to put frame stiffeners in it. I don't have to change the suspension out of it. I could just weld the mounts, because obviously a full width, I'm going to have to narrow the spring perches, but I could probably just weld the perches on, get the conversion U-joints, and throw axles underneath this thing. That's a we'll call it a week's worth of work. So that's not bad. If I could find a good deal on a set of axles with, and even, if I could find a set of Super Duty axles, they come stock. Most of them come stock with 410s, which is automatically lower than I have right now. So it's a win. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with this thing. I didn't know what I was going to do with it when I bought it, but I got a good deal on it, so I picked it up, and here we are. Like most of my projects, I have some type of a goal. Like, I'm going to do this and this and that, and then that'll be all. And then I'll sell it, or I'll keep it, or whatever, But like the Toyota looks right now exactly the way I wanted it to when I bought it. I had a plan. I seen it through. It looks exactly like I thought it would. Now the shop truck, aside from the paint that I want to put on the outside of it, it pretty much looks like I wanted it to. Up until a few months ago when I decided I wanted to start looking for a service bed, which, if you know where I can find a short box service bed for a decent price, let me know, because I'd love to put a service bed on that truck. I think it would make it look so much better. But you don't like my station wagon, Cousin Eddie. I still don't know if I'm going to put it on airbags, if I'm just going to cut the coils, if I'm going to buy lowering springs or coilovers for it. Man, I kind of want to put it on air just because I like airbags, you know, but I'm afraid that if I put it on air right, I'm not going to use it anymore. I'm not going to drive it. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. Maybe if I put it on air, I could go with like, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it right now because I'm making a video, but the automatic one where you just get in and you push one button and it takes you up to ride height and then you cruise it. I can't remember the name of the system, but you know, maybe if I go that route, then I would do it. But I don't know. There's no end game for that. There's also no sentimental attachment to that. So if somebody showed up with a decent cash offer, I might take it. Shit, I don't know. You know, this is all part of the game. This is why we do this. Some vehicles are intended to keep forever, and some vehicles are just intended to be placeholders and to make some cash off of. So, yeah, sorry, I'm kind of rambling. I'm going to just cut this off now. But again, thank you. I do appreciate it. Also, may or may not have a few more new to the channel projects in the making. And I've got a really cool Will It Run coming up. You guys should really come back for that one. That was going to be pretty cool, I think. So, yeah, stay tuned. This channel is growing, and so is the quality of the content. Allegedly. So anyway, remember guys, your dreams don't work unless you do. So even if you're in the middle of one project, go buy another one. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Love you. Bye.